Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. I will share my screen shortly. I hope everything works. I think you are hosting and coordinating all the infrastructure, I hope.
We'll take care of it.
Great. So just a couple of words of me. I'm Daniel Ramos. I'm Chief Content Officer for Imaginary. Imaginary is a German non-profit association for communication of mathematics. I will talk a bit later about Imaginary in my section about the Imaginary contribution to the project Mathina. So just to say from me that I'm a mathematician by training, and I have been now working for almost 8 years full time on communication of science and mathematics. So yeah, Imaginary has been the lead partner on this Erasmus Plus project, and we have been coordinating this Mathina project. So I will make a quick tour on what is the project and how it is. So let me share my screen. You should be watching my presentation now.
Yes, we are. See it.
Good. So Mathina. What is Mathina? Mathina, an interactive storybook between mathematics and fantasy. So what is Mathina? Let's change the question to who is Mathina. So Mathina is this young lady. She's a teenager. She likes going around with Leo. Leo is her brother, and they together find a lot of adventures and mathematical riddles everywhere they go. Where? Well, they live in this this fantasy land. This is Platonia. It's a fantasy land full of strange creatures like dragons, wizards, pirates, big cities, and it's a fantastic land where, well, besides all of these fantastic creatures, there's the particularity that everything is ruled by logic, and they find a lot of riddles and a lot of mathematical questions or riddles everywhere. So this is more or less what is Mathina, what is she doing. So for us that we are here in the education field, so what is Mathina really? So this is our approach to having a non-formal math education using fiction stories and interactive apps. So this is the proposal that we have. This is an Erasmus Plus project that we have developed between these 5 partners. I belong to Imaginary, the first one here. We are from Germany. Then we have Attractor from Portugal, Curvilinear from Italy, and Experience Workshops from Finland. We are the 3 in charge of the content and the education, and we have also Bragi, which is our technical partner that has been taking care of the infrastructure and making sure that everything looks great on the screen. So what is Mathina then? It's a collection of stories for children, a wide range of ages from 4 to 19 years old, trying to bring mathematical ideas to children. We are using some interactive apps, some games, and some things that we can play on the computer. And then together we bundle some content for the educators, so that we can collaborate with the formal education. So we have an online guide, and then we have a handbook, and we are now doing some workshops on some pilot tests of the materials with children, and we have some community support. And I'm going to be sharing also here. This is mathina.eu. This is the main website where you can enter, and then you can discover all about the project. And it's the main big button here will bring you to this Adventures of Mathina. So this is more or less the main product, if you want to see it in this way. It's this is where you can enter, and then you can explore different stories. And on each of these places, you will discover like a storybook. It's like a story you can read, and then you find some animations, and the characters Mathina and Leo, they are going around and they are finding some friends, and they are finding some people, and they find some riddles that they have to solve. So we will go through all these stories. We have this nice artwork here that really we try to make it look like a storybook for children. And then you will see that we have also some games and some apps that are also have this aesthetic. So this is the main idea of what is Mathina. It is our idea for bringing mathematical ideas to this non-formal setting. So I would like to just to give briefly some ideas of the principles that we have been following for having this project. First is that Mathina is mainly a non-formal learning tool. It is, of course, you can collaborate with the formal system, so you can collaborate with the schools and you can collaborate with educators, but it is also something that parents can use, and it is something that you can do outside of the classroom. And this is the main idea that we have been trying to develop. We have this combination of learning and entertainment through stories. So since we are in this non-formal setting, we need to convince the public or the children that this is attractive. So we have to get their attention, and we think that these stories fulfill quite well this task, because just the story by itself is interesting, and then you have these puzzles that you can try to solve through these interactive apps, and then it is something that pushes you to take some action and immerses you in the story. But just the story by itself is interesting. So this also levels up everybody, because you can follow the story just reading it. And the third key concept that I would like to stress is this early introduction of mathematical concepts. So since we are in non-formal, we don't need a ground for building the mathematical concepts. So we can play around, and you will see that we can play with the ideas about integration, or we can play about vector arithmetic, or we can talk about cryptography, or we can talk about many mathematical concepts that we don't need to have this ground to build on as you need in the school, because in the school you have this constructive approach that you have to explain everything about this concept. You have to master this the ideas. Here we don't need to master any concept. We just have a very brief introduction. So for this idea of non-formal learning, mainly the key drivers are sparking curiosity, developing this reasoning and abstract thinking skills, and reviving this interest in mathematics. Yeah, it's again, this is basically non-formal. Of course, here in this meeting, we all know what it's non-formal learning, and it's not just a question of whether it is in the school or it is at home. Is what can you do on this education? What can you learn, and what can you experience? So we are touching shallowly a lot of domains of mathematics, with the idea that people get the interest, and that the people want to learn more about these topics, or that they have some intuition in the background of their heads. So this is for the non-formal learning. How do we do that with these stories? Well, when we have this combination learning and entertainment on stories, we have this kind of fundamental problem that we aim to a very wide range of target ages, from 4 to 19. Then, of course, how can you make something that works well with a 4-year-old, which they cannot even read? So they need the parent together, and they need to help to understand the stories. And then you have an adolescent of 19 years old, which has some other problems in life and other interests. So how can we make things that work for everybody? Well, the stories are graded by age. So there are stories more appropriate for younger children, and other stories appropriate for older children. But at the same time, the stories are never too easy or too difficult. So actually, you can read a story which is easy for you because you understand everything. It doesn't pose you a challenge, but anyway, you can enjoy a story. And the children, they can also read the story which is meant for elder students. And even if they cannot solve the riddles because maybe it's a lot of conceptual hassle for them, but they can still see the pictures, see what is going on the story, and they can get what is happening. And if they are talking about whatever cryptography, for instance, maybe they cannot solve the problem of cryptography, and they cannot understand this cryptographic system that is the goal of the apps, but they can know, but they can understand what is happening on the story. The story, there is someone who has some problems with cryptography. They want to hide a message or something. So the story is accessible to everybody. And so on this spirit, the games are challenging, or can be challenging, but they are always non-blocking. So you can always continue with the stories. And the mathematical concept appears naturally. It's not that okay, you are in your life and then suddenly a math problem pops up and you have to solve it to continue. It is something that it is embedded in the story. So the creatures that you find, they have some mathematical properties that they kind of appear naturally. We will see the examples later. And these are the idea that I was mentioning before, this early introduction of mathematical concepts. Yeah, so we try to introduce concepts much earlier of what they will find them in the school, in the formal system. So if, for instance, they find negative numbers at fourth or fifth grade, we can introduce it much earlier. We can introduce it for 7 years old. If they will discover functions at, let's say, at 13 or 14 years old, we can introduce it earlier. And the same with the derivatives or plenty of concepts. We can treat it shallowly in a way that you gain some intuition. So the goal is that the children gain some intuition on these ideas. So to try to get some more concrete, I will present you the mathematical topics that we decided to have. There are these 4 mathematical topics. First is logic, then symmetry, cryptography, as I was talking, and visualization. Visualization meaning the interplay between symbolic and graphical language in mathematics. Each of these topics has assigned one of these lands. So the Mathina and Leo, they go there, and then they find some different characters. They find some different creatures and the people, and they find the different problems in these 4 different regions. Also, each of the partners took care of one of these regions. So the topics could have been different, of course. So I'm not saying that cryptography, for instance, is fundamental in the mathematics education. Well, it's an interesting topic. It's interesting because usually you don't have it in the formal education. So it is something that you can get outside of the classroom. The symmetry, it's the same. You have some formal training about symmetry in the school, but Usually you don't go to the degree of detail that we go in on these stories. And then the logic, of course, it's the logic is much broader in this sense that the logic and the visualization are two of these kind of background skills that you have to develop in mathematics. So having this abstract thinking skills, how do you organize your ideas, and the visualization is similar. It's plenty of mathematical concepts. You have one visual representation, and then you have a symbolic manipulation that you can do, like in a function or like vectors. So a vector can be a couple of numbers or can be an arrow. So all this is what we mean with the visualization, and all these are kind of background skills that you need to develop in mathematics. So just some examples. So integration, do we talk about integration? Yeah, of course, but what you have here in the left is what you do usually in the formal education. You learn it when you are 16 or 17 years old, maybe just before entering the university. And you have this symbolic manipulation, and then you have some ideas of what does it mean on the graphic. But here on the right, we have our proposal for children from 4 years old. So very young children that they cannot even read. But here you have this vector, which is the speed, and this dragon is flying, following the direction that you are pointing with this arrow. So this is the speed vector. So this is the derivative of your trajectory. So actually here you have an integration. Of course, we are not talking about integration. We are not saying the word integration. We are not saying the derivatives for these children, but we are giving these hints that at some point you will later, maybe you will be able to revisit. And if this story is read by a 19 years old, he maybe even find that, say, what they told them in the school just before entering the university, they say, well, this is integration, and they will just find, okay, so for having this problem, so if I give you the speed vector, what I'm doing here is an integration problem. So even for older children, they can discover something on these stories. Vector arithmetic is another property. So what do you really need from a children to understand that a pair of numbers is an arrow? So this is a key idea. Of course, we are not going through all the vector arithmetic. We are not doing dot product. We are not doing modulus and argument, and we don't have trigonometry here. It's just that this idea that you can have something that it's symbolic and represented by a number, and you can represent it graphically by a vector. And this is something that you can really do very early in the educational life of children. Some problem-solving strategies. This is for solving the problem. You can think it backwards. You can think it forwards. You can rephrase the problems. So these are some of the abstract that we have here. For symmetry structures, my colleague from Attractor will show you some of the things. This is really something that usually it goes beyond what you usually do in school. So you can do it together, but again, it is something that our intention is to have it earlier than what you do in the school. And this cryptography problems, it's the same. So here you have things that it's not even earlier. It's just something that you don't do in the school. Usually you don't do cryptography in school, and it's not because it's difficult. It's just because school is for something else. School is for giving you something which is really fundamental in your education. It prepares you to do further studies, and it's something that is well grounded. But then you don't have the time for doing everything. But it's good that you can get some ideas about cryptography, and then you can have a first introduction here. Of course, in our stories with the pirates, you will not get a deep understanding of cryptography, but you will get a first contact probably. So that's the idea. So just a final list of materials of what can you find on the Mathina project. So what we have prepared on this 2 years project that we have been working on that. First is this this main storybook that I have been showing you. This is the storybook where you can access to all the stories. Second, we have an educator's online guide. So if you check here, you will see the stories, and you will get the stories for the children. But if you go to the main page, you can have a parallel storybook, let's say. So on this educator's guide, it seems to have the same interface, but when you go to the story, it actually gives you this explanation that it's for the educators. So here you can see all the details, and you can have some videos that are explaining the apps, and so you really have some support if you want to use it with. Especially we are thinking on parents using this with their children. So the parents are not teachers, they don't have a background in mathematics. So they can come here and they can get some ideas and some hints on how to use in these materials. So this is this second online platform. So we have the main interactive storybook, we have this online guide, and then we have a couple of documents in PDF. First is this Mathina program booklet. This is something you can find in our website. Just at the bottom here, you can see this was the seminal document that we prepared at the beginning of the project. So here you can see the main ideas for what is this Mathina project about. And then in a matter of days or 1 or 2 weeks, we will release this educator's handbook, which goes beyond what it's on the online guide, and it gives you some additional resources that how can you use and expand Mathina in the education. And so this is the materials that you can see and download from the internet. We are also doing some workshops now that we are doing these focus groups, and we will plan to do something now that the project is coming to an end. So we are planning the afterlife of the project. We have a Facebook page where we are eager to start collecting feedback now that people is starting to using these materials. So we have prepared this Facebook page. You also have it on the main website. Here you can go to the Facebook page. Yeah, this one. And yes, and then we have a small YouTube channel with some demos of the apps. So this is an additional helpful resource for what we have. And that's all. So just you can go to this mathina.eu website, and then you can get all of these materials and play a little bit with the stories and read about these stories. So that was my presentation for this general overview.